problem. Is that what she said?
Yeah. She might be happy if that's what she said.
Oh, good afternoon. Happy
Hi.
Wednesday.
It is Wednesday.
All
Very
right.
good. Very good. You took it nice and slow.
Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Live from Rabs, episode 39.
Was it 39 yesterday?
No, 38 yesterday.
Okay, well, it says 39.
39. We're 39.
I thought you said 39 yesterday.
I might have said 39, but yesterday was 38. I mean, yeah.
Okay, moving on.
I think we're following the numbers, right? It doesn't really matter at this point. Well, you know what it is? We talk about the days of I might as well share it now. The meme of the day says perfectly, just keeping track of.
Oh, yes. Not in my house, obviously, but
for some, this could be very true.
they would be really close together. Have maybe a glass a day, which is all I need.
So, Naz, did you? We were just talking about your little issue. So, did you not cook with your pan last night?
No, I had a little issue with my cast iron pan, and it's being looked into. But yeah, I put it in my grill to heat it up, as the instructions said, and it's like the coating blistered. So I was very disappointed. I was so prepared, had everything there, and I was ready to go. But that's okay. I just put it right on the grill, and it came out perfectly.
See?
It was great. I honestly, I'm not a big fan of cooking things on the grill because you know the health issues about charcoal, and although I don't have a charcoal grill, I'm a little paranoid about toxins.
So you won't grill because of that?
Well, I don't grill a lot because of that. Yeah. Okay. I don't use my microwave because of that a lot.
The microwave, I totally get. But the grill,
yeah.
Even high heat kind of kills things,
but it creates when things burn off, they create reactions in your food. Listen, I'll have my nutritionist come on and explain all of that.
I would like to. It's not gonna stop me from,
no, it won't. And you know,
grilling.
As long as you're healthy, it shouldn't. But maybe you just.
But for some people, maybe there's a reason. I get it. All right. I'm not judging. I just maybe slightly judging. No, I'm kidding.
You can judge away. It's not going to change my behavior.
Oh, no. This is a judgment-free zone. Remember? Well, you know, I have to share this because.
So what did you do? What did you end up?
I grilled last night.
Okay, good.
Of course, it was beautiful out. Why wouldn't
it? Was really, but honestly, by the time I actually got outside to grill, it was like 6:30, and it was already starting to get a little chilly.
It was, yeah, but it was nice.
It was a nice day. It was sunny, so that made it nice.
Yeah, the sun was still beating. We were in good shape yesterday, and hopefully Saturday when we go outside. It'll be just as nice.
All they're calling for as of right now is a little rain in the morning, early. It says early a.m. So we should be good to go.
All right. I'm excited. We're gonna do something a little different. We're gonna take it outside, participate in a cookout, whatever the heck this thing
front
is.
Yard barbecue, front yard cookout.
Yeah, exactly. So I have to share this. My brother's gonna kill me, but I think it's hysterical. So. You know what people, you didn't see this yet, which is even better.
No, I didn't. So if it's going to embarrass one of your brothers, that makes me
happy. One of Anthony. People are home working out. So they're working out the Zoom class. I have friends that actually have yoga studios or teach yoga.
It's great.
They're doing virtual yoga.
Probably something they might ordinarily not do in a class of people, but because they're home, and maybe it's a way for them to transition into a class. I think it's great. Somebody that I know that has a studio is actually is changing their complete business model. Absolutely,
going to continue the virtual classes, and then of course offer the on-site. But this is something. So anyway, so Anthony has with some friends does a virtual workout every day.
Oh,
and then every day I get the little update of what we're doing. You know, I've learned the cherry pickers and the windshield wipers.
Awesome. I can't wait to see this.
So I decided to go downstairs and check in on him just to see what was going on. And I was hoping to get him dancing or something.
Right.
I didn't get that. But
what kind of workout is it? Is it yoga? Obviously, it's
It's a mix. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see the picture and maybe we can
It's a
figure it
video.
out.
No,
Oh, is it a video?
I got a video. You might
Oh.
not be prepared for this, but
Prepare yourself,
so
people.
this
This is
is
going to be awesome.
Anthony working out.
He's such a good sport, your brother. He really is. Oh, that's
I got him good.
that's funny.
Sketch.
Well, I don't like what you know, and you know,
I'll show.
a lot of that goes on in my house too, and I don't know why. People are easily startled because I guess we kind of get home and we get into our little, you get into your little zone and you kind of zone everybody else out.
Yeah.
And then somebody else is in the room and you don't even realize they walked in. And yeah, particularly my mother and I do that to each other all the time. And it's pretty funny.
He didn't want to be alone, so he quarantined with us, and it's starting to get old, but it's working.
Soon he'll go back home.
Yeah, soon he'll go back. He'll be back away.
Across the bridge.
It's been good. It's been all right. But that's coming here is certainly helping that every day.
Yeah.
But I got a good kick out of it.
Yeah, that's funny.
I'm not right. No. Come on, you laughed too. So if you laughed, you can't say, John, you can't say that I'm not right if you laughed at that too, right? You just can't.
And you know why it's funny? Because Anthony really, he's a very good sport, and he really is. He's very easy about laughing at himself most of the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He really is.
He's a good sport,
and that's why it works. And when he was on the show, we were talking about inspiration for writing and from his perspective. So he writes comedy. Our guest today doesn't really write comedy, although I can argue we could turn this into comedy, Rob. When you write, I think any writer, and we're going to ask Rob this question too. Anthony says he writes from his personal experiences, and when writing comedy, of course you embellish. And I think every writer, depending on what you're writing, is in the same boat. So sometimes I really wonder what goes on in Anthony's head for him to write what he does write.
The things he writes.
Like he says he writes from experience, and I'm going,
well, listen.
What experience might that be?
I've been around Anthony for a very long time, and he has a very active imagination.
He does.
And he's very good at continuing a story past what actually happened. So he does. He's very good at that.
That's everyday life.
Exactly. Very imaginative.
Telling stories all the time, which is great.
Yes.
So Anthony, if I don't think you're watching yet, so hey, that might be great. I will certainly tell you that I shared that video with the world today, and that's okay because you'll laugh, but then you'll have something else for me, and we'll take it from there. Anyway, so welcome. This has been fun. We've been having a good time.
Yeah, we have. It certainly breaks up my day, and it gives us something to do, and it's something to look forward to. And honestly, I still continue to get messages from people saying thank you for doing this. It gives us something to look forward to every day, and so that makes us. I think that makes us both feel good that we're kind of helping people get through this.
It does, and it helps us too. And nice of you to get out of the shop today because you're not breathing in paint.
There's a lot of paint, but it's what low VOC or whatever they call that.
Oh,
you can't even smell the paint when you're in there. Although I may be lightheaded from being up on the ladder.
It's the first thing I smelled when I walked by.
Is it? I don't.
Yeah, I even smell it right here. I smelled it coming in here. But
it's not
when you're in it. I mean, you're not going to smell it anymore.
Probably because I've been smelling it for.
Oh, that's your paint. Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, outside the shop, you smell it. So
we use high VOC.
Jimmy and Michael are working their way closer to us. Or should I say, we've worked closer to them.
We're kind of meeting in the middle.
Yeah,
they're working this way.
They're over here on the staircase in front of us today, and of course they use high VOC paint. Well, listen,
and we're making progress with the paint job, so it's coming right along.
Naz, I have to say, I'm impressed when I see Naz on a ladder painting. It's not something I see. It's not something I see. I like it.
Yeah, I was up there painting my stripes, and I was kind of, it was nice.
I know
was
you're a
having good time.
DIY person. I get to
definitely
see
am.
some of your craftiness, but
Yeah.
that's not craftiness I get to see on a regular basis.
Yeah, wait till it's done.
Should we paint the office together?
No, I don't want to do that. I don't mind the painting. What I don't like is moving everything.
Well, that's true. Ray moved everything.
And Ray has been so good. He's very good at moving. And Liz has helped out too. So kind of right now, everything is piled in the middle of the shop.
Jimmy is checking on your paint job right now.
Is he?
Yeah, he's in there. He's
Jimmy Kane?
Jimmy Kane.
Oh, he came through before. He saw.
So anyway,
I thought you meant Jimmy Libetti. I did take one picture of a wall that I'm going to send to Naz and Jimmy and give them a little update.
Terry, I did take a photo of Naz painting before. I am not sharing it yet. I'm not sharing it till the job is done, but I did take one as I walked in. She turned around and saw me. I was trying to get her in the action, so I'm going to have to try again another time.
Was I singing when you called me? No, I was in there blasting out tunes this morning.
I just heard music.
It was nice. I was in singing at the top of my horrible voice lungs.
Yeah, I only sing in the shower. When I sing in the shower, the toilet bowl flushes. So I try to keep it at a minimum so nobody can hear me singing. As my talking voice is terrible, and I'm aware of that. I am very well aware that my singing voice is not very good.
Well, listen, I can attest that I'm not a singer, but I like to sing. I like to sing. I like listening to music and sing. So I had Elton John on all morning.
Because you didn't get to go to the concert.
I was a little disappointed. So it's funny because I've watched the movie probably a dozen times.
Right.
Every time I hear a song that was in the movie, I'm like acting out that part of the movie in my head. Not physically acting it out, but I'm
you have any outfits that you could put on and then act it out?
I probably have a pair of those couple of big glasses that he used to have. I don't have those big heels though.
Like shimmering pants.
He was quite a character.
Well,
my first real musical love.
Really?
I believe it was my first.
John.
When I say love, I don't mean. Well, I did. I was a kid. I didn't realize. I just loved his music. It was the first music that I really. I guess I connected to it for some reason, but then things changed, and I liked a lot of different music. So I like everything: jazz, rock.
You do
metal. I listen to everything.
You do listen to everything.
Do that
talent show. Yeah.
I can lip sync really good.
That could be. Yeah.
I could do. Yeah, I already know the song.
That's why she wants to film some TikToks because she could lip sync very well.
I already know the song.
They do a lot of that.
Oh, speaking of TikTok, I'm sorry you brought that up, but there's one thing I have to say because I caught a video in our work page of Kevin laughing at whatever TikTok he was watching.
Yes.
And I think it was the baby with the cheese on the face. So I went searching for it because I wanted to see what it was because Ray asked me what video was that. So I started. So then, of course, I got sucked into the vacuum. And I realized after watching TikTok that I'm pretty sure David Cassidy, yes, Terry, that I'm pretty sure that the Carol Baskin song is the same song as Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh, it probably is.
I think it's the same song.
Could be.
So it took me 2 weeks. It's the person that supposedly knows all this about music, and it took me 2 weeks to figure it out.
All right.
Anyway.
Carol Baskin. Killed her husband.
All right, let's get moving on.
So Terry, of course, is watching today. Of course, we know Terry doesn't watch every day, and we make fun and yell at her at the same time. But she wanted us to know that David Cassidy was her first musical love.
No. She liked Bobby Sherman. David Cassidy was who I liked. But I was a little older by that time. I liked Elton John when I was a little younger.
I got you.
But yes, I did like David Cassidy.
Bobby Sherman.
Bobby Sherman. There were two distinct camps in our age group.
I'm sure there
you
were.
either liked Bobby Sherman or you liked David Cassidy.
All right.
And very few people really kind of liked both. There were two really different.
Well, when you look back at, the whole picture, the whole thing, there's a lot happening.
Anyway, enough of that nonsense.
So we've got a special guest with us today.
We certainly do.
The one and only Rob Hart.
Staten Island celebrity.
There you go. Staten Island celebrity. Celebrity here at Rab's Country Lanes. Hey, Rob.
How are you?
We're doing all right. How are you?
Hanging in there, the best we can.
How are you surviving quarantine?
I mean, 90% of it is trying to keep my daughter from burning the house down. And you know how capable she is of that.
She's very focused.
Yes, focused is the word. But yeah, no, it's just, just trying to get some steps every day and get some writing done and just kind of keep her entertained and hopefully this will be over sooner rather than later.
We were talking about Abigail yesterday, and I certainly miss Abigail running in the office on Fridays and coming to say hello. And then, of course, I should have brought the bell out. I didn't bring the bell out. Rob thinks it's the stupidest thing in the world, which is pretty funny. The bell, which she, of course, will ring looking for Nana. And it worked. But you know what? It works.
Yeah.
It works.
I don't think that ever worked in your household with your siblings and looking for your mother.
Yeah, no, she was pretty good at hiding from us.
And Terry, I don't want to. Rob, would you rather be quarantined with your mother or father? Oof, that's tough.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. Oh, that's a tough decision.
Why would you even ask me that? That's just mean.
It doesn't mean one is your favorite. It just means that one would be easier to spend a long period of time with.
Probably my dad, because my dad is quieter.
Yeah, but he's sneaky, your dad.
He is. Yeah, I don't know. But also, you know what it is, though? My dad can cook, and my mom, not as well.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
My goal is to make her mad for asking me to do this. So let's just keep going.
I can't. It's funny. From afar, I would answer the same way. Just knowing the two of them, I would pick Bob, and I love Terry.
I would probably pick Terry.
You would, of course.
I would pick Terry. We would order out every day, and it wouldn't matter. And we would just because Terry and I get along really well, so we would just sit and chat and watch TV.
And I have to say, yeah, I'm sure you would. You talk all day anyway. Anyway, you have a proud family, and we love hearing. We really appreciate you dropping in with us. And she really is a proud mom. Even your father, the stuff that when they talk about you and the work that you've done, and they're proud of all their kids. But I will say, when she's selling your books or talking about you, it's definitely with pride, and I know you know that.
Well, I almost feel like I should give her a salary because she just the amount of people who browbeats into buying my books is astounding. She just whenever I have a new book out, it's always weeks of her being like, "Hey, are you home right now? Because I need to come have 10 copies signed." and I always have to check with her because she'll go to bookstores and get them, or she'll order them online. And I'm like, people are paying you back for these, right? You're not just buying them yourself and giving them away. And she's like, no, people are paying me. And I'm like, well, thank God. And just make sure of that.
One way to get on the bestseller list.
Yeah.
And you know what? You've built a fan base here. And I will say, we don't charge her a vig to sell them from the counter.
Oh, good.
But we do appreciate the work. And the cool part, you have also extended even further. Of course, she pushed you and asked you, but hey, you've given an opportunity to raffle off your books, autographed books, but also
to have a spot in your book as a character.
Yeah.
Which is a cool thing.
Yeah, my mom had to remind me about that because I'm writing my new one right now and I completely forgot. And she was like, "Oh, did you add in this person?" And I'm like, "Tell me their name again." So I had one character that it was a nice, easy swap. So Liz Gottlieb got her character.
All right. Oh, so Liz Gottlieb, Kathy Wichnowitz, I believe, won the first one.
Yeah.
And now we got Liz Gottlieb. That's cool. So we were just talking a little bit. So my brother came on in the beginning of doing all this, and he's got some wonky work and some great work that he does. And he talks about writing and writing from experience. And your work is certainly much different. What gives you? Where does the inspiration for the work that you've written come from?
And it was interesting what you were saying before. I mean, I think all writing is, autobiographical. No matter what you're writing, the nice thing about fiction is that you get to pretend that it's not real. Whereas with something like comedy, it's a little bit more personal and it's a little bit more rooted in your personal experience. But obviously when it comes to some of like the crazier stuff I've written, I'm filtering that through, what I've seen in movies or TV or just my weird sort of troubling imagination. But, the most important part of a story is sort of those sort of shared universal feelings we all have of frustration and triumph and anger and disappointment and love and friendship and all this. So that's really where you kind of have to dig into the personal end of things, and
So
that's where it really comes out.
how hard is it to go from, saying, oh, yeah, you know what? I think I could write a book. I have this story in my head, to actually structuring it so that it can actually be a real book? I would assume that that's a process.
Oh yeah, no, it's immensely complicated, and besides, there's obviously you need to have some talent, but I also think you need to be insanely stubborn. You have to be willing to say like, no, I'm going to get this done, because it's I decided when I was like 18 or 19 that I wanted to write a book, and my first book didn't come out until I was like 32. So that was a decently big stretch of time.
Yeah.
It's something that you really have to really want to do, because in the beginning, the only one pushing you forward is yourself.
Right.
And part of the process is actually finding your process and what works for you. Like my first book that came out took me 5 years to write. The second one took like 9 months, because by then it was like, oh, I kind of think I understand how this works right now.
Right.
But it develops and it evolves and it changes. Because also every time I start a new book, I kind of feel like I don't remember how to write books. Like, this is ridiculous. Why am I doing this? So it's, I can say how difficult it is, because the amount of people who say I want to write a book versus the amount of people who actually manage to write a book, I feel like that's a pretty wide gap.
Yeah.
It's just it's a huge struggle, and it involves a lot of rejection and a lot of frustration and a lot of sort of like I'm at a point right now where I can say with some reasonable degree of certainty I'm an okay writer. And I still am like, I'm working on my new book and I'm struggling at points, and I'm like, this is garbage. Like, why does anyone want to read the things that I write? So it's a lot of it is just getting past self-doubt.
Yeah, I that's what I was gonna. You must struggle. I mean, like any artist, I would think would, that you're kind of putting yourself and your thoughts and whatever process you're going through on the line. That the fear of that being rejected or incorrect. So if you say you have this book and you write it out, and you now submit it to somebody, I assume that there's some pushback of, oh no, this has to change, or you can't do this, or so. How does that process work?
I haven't really dealt with that too much. Like there's always developments and there's always stuff that changes. Like my literary agent who understands the market very well, he'll sort of give me notes and give me edits. And then my book will go to my editor, and my editor will give me notes and edits. But it's always stuff. It's not so much you can't do this. It's more in line of like, this is how we make this story stronger, and this is how we improve on it. Like I've never been told, oh, this is not something you're allowed to write. It's only been, okay, we're almost there, but this is how we get there. And
well, you must be much better than you think you are.
I'm sorry?
You must be much better than you think you are.
Yeah, it's funny again with the self-doubt. I remember with The Warehouse, which was like my breakout, I sent it to my agent and I'm like, this thing is garbage. This is so bad. I'm so sorry. Just like tell me if it's salvageable. And he's like, no, I think we're going to be okay. And then like he sent it out, and like a few days later we had all these publishers like interested in buying it. And I'm like, I guess I just don't understand my own work.
I think that's with anybody, whether even any type of art. Music. I think those in music go through the same struggle, whether you're a songwriter or you're a producer. Without a doubt, same type of thing.
Well, and I think it's healthy to a degree, as long as it's not preventing you from getting the work done. A degree of self-doubt is important, because it's just going to push you to work harder.
Yeah, you just can't push. You can't push yourself so far where you're like, never mind, and give up on it. You persevere through it, and so you talk about The Warehouse being the breakthrough. So talk a little bit about that experience. You get, to your point, you submit it. Okay, yeah, I think it's a piece of crap, right? And then all of a sudden you get these phone calls. What was that feeling like to now put something out there that, whoa, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Somebody's looking at it from a different lens, and look what it's become.
Yeah, it was bizarre, because what happened was, so usually in publishing, you submit a book to a bunch of editors, and if you're lucky, one of the editors says, okay, I would like to buy this book, and then they publish it. And what ended up happening is so many editors wanted it, we were about to go to auction, which exactly what it sounds like. Everyone puts in their best offer, and the winner gets it. But then Crown at Penguin Random House did what's called a preempt, which is they basically say, here's what we will pay you, don't have the auction. And they just, and it worked out okay.
Yeah.
So then, and that kind of led to a series of dominoes where, because it's sold in a significant deal in the US, my agent took it to the London Book Fair, which is where a lot of foreign sales happen. And everyone wanted to read it there. And so we started racking up all these foreign sales. And then because the global box office is becoming much more global, all of a sudden Hollywood gets interested. And then we've got all these production studios who are interested in the book. And during that process, it was so completely surreal because I would wake up in the morning and and because of the time difference with my agent in London, I'd wake up in the morning and there were all these like new numbers and new offers in from the foreign publishers. And then the day would be kind of empty. And then at the end of the day, around like 8 or 9 o'clock, when like Hollywood was finally getting their stuff done, I would start getting news from Hollywood. So like, and it was just, it's crazy because that's sort of like the goal. That's the dream, but like, it's very rare for that to happen.
Yeah.
Deals like that only happen a couple of times a year. So all of a sudden I'm just sitting there like, this is just dumb. Like this entire thing is dumb. And there were points like, even after I was like signing contracts and getting paid, I really thought someone was going to show up and it was going to be like this elaborate prank. like I had very deeply wronged somebody at some point in my life, and they were getting like the most amazing revenge on me possible.
You thought you got punked.
Yeah, yeah, essentially.
What Anthony went through what Anthony's process of how that started to open up for him.
Anthony's process a little different. So his play work, My Big Gay Italian Wedding, was on stage for 15. It was out there for 16 years. I think about the time that it got picked up. So he always gets inquiries, right? And so you get a phone call, you don't believe it. And I'm the first one. I don't get excited till I see some sort of contract or I see money. I'm not, because everybody's got this plan for you. Rob, all your books are going to become movies. You're going to do this. Okay, yeah, right, whatever. And to your point, it happens here. But with Anthony, because of the entertainment side, picked up in a foreign country to be made a film. And then they, of course, made tons of promises to him as well. They actually optioned two stories of his, and they only picked up one. And that was wonky to begin with, but it's out there. Por Buspare lo Sposo. It was an Italian film. It's available on Prime. And it's dubbed in English, which was one of his arguments. And I want to ask you something similar about this too. It was an Italian film. He has the rights. They could only do so much with it. But of course, in entertainment, they're going to twist and do what they can with it. They dubbed it in English to put out in this market. He flipped out.
Yeah.
But they can disseminate it dubbed, but they cannot do it in English. So that's the argument, right? They can't do it in English and disseminate it in America, but they could dub it in English, which again bothered him. It was, I'm sorry, not dubbed in English, subtitles.
But
they were able to dub it in German. Right. So in Europe, so now in the international book market, and I've seen the photos, you've got different covers. Do they change your work for language purposes? How deep does that go?
Yeah.
That's a great question because to a large degree, I can't tell. I had beers with my Dutch publisher when I was in Amsterdam, and when we talked a little bit about that process and like how sometimes there are words or ideas that don't really translate very well. And he pointed to like a few words in the book that he had to find sort of like a more Dutch equivalent. I feel like the nuances of language are weird. It's also a conversation I had with my French publisher. She was telling me that she's read these books in English that are really thrilling and really amazing, but if the translation isn't right, you kind of lose some of that magic. So you have to find someone who's sort of not translating just the words, but sort of the tone and the style.
Right.
And it's also it's you're putting faith in these publishers to do the job right, because again, at the end of the day, I have literally no idea whether these translations are any good. Everyone tells me they're good, but I can't read them. So I mean, it's fun to have them. I'm kind of curious about, like, especially once like with the Asian translations, because we sold in like Korea and China, and in China you can sell in both like simplified Chinese and complicated Chinese, and a lot of those are going to be interesting, because I feel like that would demand some sort of changes because of the language nuances. But yeah, no, it's at the end of the day, though, they're all legitimate publishers. They're all really good. They're all doing great work. So I'm not too worried about that.
You get paid at the end of the day. You get a check. So what does it matter?
Also, that.
But I'm sure it's cool to get a copy of your book in another language and go, wow.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it was fantastic. I was a little bummed, and obviously, it is what it is. But I was supposed to go on a French tour, like at the beginning of April. I was supposed to go to Paris and Lyon, and obviously it got canceled. And I hope I get to go out there at some point in the future. But doing the foreign stuff is great because it's so different. It's so different in other countries. Just the literary tradition. Like, I feel like here in America, like I sometimes like it could be a real struggle to get people to come out to book events, and usually the people who come out are people who know me or authors I know, or just like friends of friends. Whereas I was in Germany and I did an event in Munich where we got like between 50 and 75 people, and then an event in Hamburg where we got over 100, and those people actually paid to be there because it was like part of a festival.
Right.
And it's like, you just don't see that in the US unless you're at like the level of like Margaret Atwood or Stephen King or somebody.
Right.
And so there just seems to be a little bit more value put, like people in foreign countries are just excited to see an author, regardless of who they are or where they're from. And that was fun. That was pretty gratifying.
Yeah, we experienced when we went to Italy with Anthony. Anthony talks about his experiences around the world and traveling similar, and just that in Italy, that it was just a different experience for him. Even for us, fawning over someone you have no clue, but you know that he wrote the work, which is cool. And I actually think there's more legitimacy to that, right?
Yeah.
As an author, I'm sitting in a room with people. I don't know one person.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they
They
paid to
truly
actually
there for
see
your
me.
work. Right.
Yeah.
That is really cool. So we talk about this wonky world that we live in, and so this book, The Warehouse, I've read through it, and I've read it, and Rob, are you now that you could be the new Simpsons, predicting the future of where we're at? When did you start writing this? Obviously, you had inspiration, but now when you look back at what you wrote and look at where we are today, what now goes through your head?
It's not always the best feeling, because I kind of thought that this is where we were headed in like 10 to 20 years.
Right. Way down the road.
Yeah, and now it's going to be like next year. But I started this back in 2012, and I, at that point I just kind of had a kernel of an idea, and I was laying down notes and stuff, and it took a little while for it to percolate because it was kind of a complicated book. But the idea is that like it's what would happen if Amazon basically took over the economy and then built a live work model where you lived at your job, which is becoming, it's like the old mining towns, or what Foxconn does in Asia, with like Foxconn City and stuff. And it seemed like we were kind of headed that way, and now with this pandemic, it's sort of it's leveling the playing field for Amazon, because it's wiping out small businesses. It's making Amazon that much more powerful because people are relying on home delivery. So many people are laying off, but Amazon is hiring. So and we're now stuck inside, almost like these characters are stuck inside this facility, and it's like, it's just really creepy. I have a buddy, Chuck Wendig. He wrote this book called Wanderers, and it's about a pandemic and what it does to the U.S. And the two of us just like, sometimes we're like, this is not fun, man. This is not fun.
you almost feel like you're being punked again. Somebody took what you
Yeah,
did
yeah.
and just threw it out there in the real life.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's I mean, part of me feels a little bit proud because it's like, oh, I did a somewhat decent job of predicting things that were going to happen. But it's still, yeah, it's the whole reason I wanted to write this was just kind of like a cautionary tale. And, I think it's becoming like more and more cautionary by the day.
And it's scary, right? If you think about it, it could be
Yeah.
scary. So now, do you think that's why the popularity of the book and why you get options by Ron Howard
Yeah.
for the screen? So do you think that's why?
I mean, I think that people are becoming more cognizant of these issues, the way that sort of like large corporations really treat us as like food they eat to grow bigger. I mean, and the pandemic is making that very clear. When you've got a company where the CEOs are making $15 million a year and they're having to lay off employees because they can't afford them anymore. It's like, maybe you don't need $15 million a year. Like maybe this system does not work, or the way the government basically structured the bailouts to help large business, where like you've got like Shake Shack or Ruth Christie like going in and getting like $20 million a pop, and that really should have been a program designed for like
Small bit.
wraps. You're a small business that needs help, not Shake Shack, which has 189 locations in the U.S. That is not a small business. But that's sort of the system. Like I really feel like they're trying to protect the system of making sure the people at the top stay as wealthy as possible, and the people at the bottom stay sort of desperate for their crumbs. And it makes me kind of angry. And that's why I wrote the book. But I do think that people are keying into that a lot more than they have in the past. And I feel like if I had written this book in 2012 and tried to sell it then, it maybe wouldn't have hit as hard as it did.
Wow,
But yeah, it was like the timing was just really on my side on this, which is a lot of publishing. A lot of publishing is timing. Like you could have a book that is absolutely brilliant, but sometimes the market just can't bear it, or something similar already came out, or something similar is in the pipeline, and it's always it's more art than science with this stuff.
Well, right place, right time. I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah.
I think that's with anything.
Yeah.
Certainly with anything. And so talk about the movie option. What could that look like? I've seen your work on a big screen.
Yeah, it's exciting. So last summer I was in San Diego for Comic-Con, and I drove up to LA to meet with some people at Imagine Entertainment. And I met with the screenwriter, who was a super smart guy, and he had a lot of really good ideas. Because at the end of the day, like I know people always say like, oh, the book was so different from the movie, but books have to be different from movies. Like there's a lot of stuff that's just not visual that needs to be translated. And all of the changes they wanted to make and all the ideas they had were fantastic. So I'm like, yeah, do it, no problem. And I had a really good conversation with them, and the screenplay is either done or just about done. So it's also like Hollywood takes a very long time with everything, so it's not like it's not a quick process. So I'm just basically I'm excited to kind of like have my name in the mix on that and to see how it goes.
So how was Comic-Con?
Lunacy. Like sheer and utter lunacy. It was really fun to see, and I was thinking about going again this year, but it was also kind of like, you're in this room where it's so big you literally can't see the far end of it, and you're just crushed. It's shoulder to shoulder people. And at one point, like I wanted to walk around and see some stuff, and I just gave up because I'm like, I can't get through this. Like this is just not fun. But like once you're out in the city afterward, it's like nerd Mardi Gras. It's actually kind of crazy because like all the bars are spilling out in the streets, but everyone's like dressed as comic book characters and movie characters and stuff.
Right.
So it's it was definitely really exciting to do. So but also one of those things that like I'm not going to rush to do again, or I would almost rather go there and just hang out with like my friends, like the other artists and the other writers that I'm friendly with, and just like get drinks or go down to the beach or something, or like skip down to Mexico for the day or something. But yeah, the show floor itself is just like, yeah.
That's cool. That so we've got a couple of questions from our viewers here. A great question. So one, this is Kevin Rourke. Rob, do you have a favorite author that you may try to parallel?
Maybe not parallel. I'm a humongous fan of Ray Bradbury, and I definitely had him in mind while I was writing this. Because Fahrenheit 451 was definitely one of the books that made me kind of sit up and realize what books can do.
So what books did you read when you were younger?
It was sort of, I started out with Encyclopedia Brown, and then moved up to Hardy Boys.
Okay.
And then my mom got me into like Dean Koontz when I was in like 7th or 8th grade, which was really weird, and probably I should not have been reading those books at that young. And yeah, and then it kind of took off from there. Then I got into sort of like crime fiction and transgressive fiction and all the and then sci-fi, and so I try to read really widely. Like it's good to have a sphere of influence, but you also kind of want to get outside that sphere to sort of develop your voice.
And what would you say is your favorite book, other than your own, of course?
My favorite book of all time is In the City of Shy Hunters by Tom Spanbauer. It's about 1970s New York, and it's just, I think, one of the most beautifully written books ever.
Interesting. Might have to put that on my list.
That has to go on the list. Add that to the list, Naz.
It's on the list.
Hey, so I have to say, one, you've autographed a lot of books for us here, and this is my copy. I think this is my copy. Yeah, and I think when you were doing this, I think this is the most creative. And I don't know if you stole this or you borrowed the idea, but I think it's genius. An author could just sign a book, right? To Frank, Rob. But in this case, Rob took it the next step, and he's got a stamp. But then he assigns a shirt color to you, which is relative to the story. So it says,
I have a regular copy. I want an autographed copy now.
So
I didn't give you a stamped copy?
Oh boy.
I did.
Oh.
You know what?
Sorry.
No. I didn't ask for special treatment. I
Well,
just went on Amazon and bought it. But now
okay. Well, yeah. Well, when the world finally opens back up, I'll bring the stamp down to Rabs.
Okay, then. Well, there you go.
So I want you to talk about the stamp, because I think this is really unique. So you basically made the experience personal for the reader. But why? What was the?
It's like signing a book is fine, and also like I always struggle with trying to write something like clever or funny in people's books, and with the stamp, like that kind of just, I didn't have to do that. I could just like do the stamp and be done. But I also kind of figured like, this will be something people can take pictures of and they'll share on Instagram or they'll share on Twitter, which people have and is super cool. So it just seemed like a fun little way to keep myself entertained with the whole process. I think I went to Vistaprint and had the stamp made up, and I think it cost like $15. And I bought like 10 stamp pads because I thought I would go through them real quick. And after signing like literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books, I'm still using the same ink pad.
Oh. Ooh.
Yeah, they're pretty. I have to say,
they last a long time.
They do last a long time. I think it's genius. I haven't seen that done.
Yeah,
I'm not an avid book reader, and I have a lot of books, but there are some that I'll pick and choose. But I thought that was really unique.
Yeah.
I haven't seen in all the autographed books that I do have. That was a first, so pretty cool. Your mother is sitting here, of course.
Oh God.
With pride, and so hey, I want you to talk about something. So your mother talks about going to book signings, and I'm sure for you that has to be a daunting thing. Do you tell her to be quiet, not ask questions? What's that experience like, having your mother come to book signings?
Well, first off, I'm not going to tell her what she can and can't do, because she's going to do whatever she wants to do anyway. That's just ridiculous. It's funny. She's kind of my biggest fan, which I like, and she really supports what I do, which is really nice. And she always tries to think of a question to ask me at my events. And they're actually usually like really smart, thoughtful questions that make me like think for a minute, which, is not always the case. And so, it's always a trip, like she was asking, she really wants to come on one of my foreign trips next, which,
I bet she does.
We'll see about that.
Amanda, no. Tell Terry no, stay home.
Yeah.
What's the best question she's asked you?
Oh God, I think she asked me about like one of the main characters' political affiliations once, and I was like, "Oh, that's an interesting question that I haven't gotten anywhere yet."
In some form, maybe not the best question to ask.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And she's, I think, in here selling books.
She is.
I think that's happening.
Oh, good.
Hey, so where? Obviously, we can go to Amazon. Where's the best place for someone to go out and support and buy and purchase your books?
I really, Amazon has enough money right now. I think the best thing to do is if you have a local bookstore, to go to them. I know Staten Island doesn't have like a new independent, like there are some used bookstores, but there's no independent bookstores. There's Barnes and Noble, which has always been very kind to me, and they're very cool people. And my understanding is that they're open and they're doing curbside pickup. And I would say definitely check them out. But also, nearly every indie bookstore will deliver. And there's also this website called bookshop.org where they've basically set up this system where you can go and order from them and the book will be fulfilled by a local indie and that indie will get a cut of the sale.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's bookshop.org, which is where I've been. I've also been I've ordered from Books or Magic, which is in Brooklyn. Murder by the Book in Houston, which they've been very good to me. Just trying to sort of go after the stores that have hosted me and have sold books for me and just try to, pick up my reading material for them. But, and it sort of underscores the important thing right now is like, again, you can order from Amazon and contribute to their, sort of gigantic machine.
Right.
Or, you can order something from within your local community that's going to keep your neighbors employed, that's going to keep a storefront open, that's going to, actually pump money into local businesses. And yes, sometimes that might mean waiting an extra day or two, or, having to put on a face mask and go out to the local hardware store or grocery store or something. But I think it's a really worthwhile thing to be doing right now.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. We remind everybody, support your local business, shop small, especially in times like this. And not saying, listen, there are conveniences that people are willing to pay for, but at the same time, we have access to it. Let's make it work
the loss of small bookstores and especially on Staten Island is sad.
Yeah, it's tough, and especially I think that we're to the point now where like the North Shore could probably support an independent bookstore, but bookstores are also really hard businesses. I mean, there's definitely there's been a resurgence in local bookstores in the last couple of years. They've been doing better, but it's still just to the amount of money you have to lay out to open one, because you have to basically like the amount of stock you have to have, and being able to sort of guess at what your readers are going to want based on like where you're located. And it's tough. I think that this is going to be make or break for a lot of, especially the smaller independent bookstores. And so that's why I think it's good to sort of, I think bookshop.org is close to raising like $1 million for bookstores or something. So, definitely a worthwhile place to shop.
Check that out. Hey, of your work, what is your favorite piece of work that you've done in your opinion?
My favorite thing is usually what I'm working on, because I always kind of want each thing I want my first book to be the worst thing I ever wrote, and I want my last book to be the best thing I ever wrote. And, the book I'm writing now is it's called Paradox Hotel, and it's a time travel book, but it's also got issues of like classism and why billionaires are terrible.
I see it's a recurrent theme.
Yeah. And I've always wanted to write a time travel book, so it's been really, really gratifying to write. And so I'm like this is definitely my favorite thing right now, because I feel like I'm pushing myself in a lot of ways that I haven't before. And I mean, I'm close to finishing the first draft, and I'm definitely in a little bit of a lull where I'm like, this is not working. But I know I'm going to pull out of that, and we're going to get it done.
Do you think that's because you're cooped up at home and not getting out?
I actually hit a groove on the book right before sort of the lockdown started. And I feel very lucky for that, because I know a lot of other writers who are really struggling to be creative right now because of all the stress and all the anxiety and just everything that's going on. And, I wonder how different this would have looked if I was sort of between projects, or if I was earlier in the process and hadn't really found my footing on it. Because sometimes that's the hardest part, is like getting into the voice and the mindset of the book. So, it's and it's been fits and starts for me. Like I'll have days where I write like 5,000 words, which is a really nice chunk, and days where I just kind of sit there and look at it and I'm like, nah, nope. So no, it's definitely going to get done a lot sooner than it would have because of this. But it hasn't always been easy.
Where would you say? And I think every writer has a place. But if you were writing if you're writing, where is the ideal place for you to be writing? Whether you have to see something, is there a space that you say I need to be there, and that's where I do my best work?
Lately, I've been going to this sort of shared writing space in the city. It's on Broadway near Waverly. It's called the Writers' Room, and it's pretty cool. It's subsidized by grants from the city, from DCA, so it's not like terribly expensive. But you pay a monthly rent, and you get to go and like get a desk, and it's super quiet. They don't let people have their cell phones inside, and like they've got great snacks and coffee and stuff, and it's just super chill. And I'm always so productive there, because when I'm home, it's very easy to be like, oh, I'm going to put on an episode of The Office, or I'm going to go, go run an errand, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. But whereas if I'm there, then I'm just sort of locked in and working. So yeah, I miss the writer's room a lot, and I cannot wait to go back.
That's cool. It's about the snacks, right? It's all about the snacks.
They have the little pretzel nuggets that are filled with peanut butter. And I'm pretty sure I caught the flu digging into there, but it was worth it.
You never know what you're gonna find in a
yeah.
Pretzel nuggets. We love those. We absolutely love those. Those are snack. Hey, so when was the last time you picked up a bowling ball?
So, October. My agent, he organized a big bowling party. We were down in Dallas at this convention, and he organized a big bowling party for all of his clients. And me and him were the leaders of the pack, because of course, knowing my mom, like I grew up in a bowling alley, so I actually am somewhat decent at bowling. And so I beat him in the first game, and then for the second game, I was like, well, let's make a bet. So industry standard is your agent gets like a small percentage of your sales, right? Like that's how they make their living. And I was like, okay, for the second game, if you win, I will take a cut on my share, but but vice versa. Like if I win, you have to take a cut on yours. And he was like, no, I don't want to take that bet. And then he beat me. So I was like, Josh, you should have done it.
Maybe, you never know.
Yeah.
The question of the day: where's Abby today?
Yeah, where is
Abby? God, she is stomping around like Godzilla. I don't know how a 5-year-old who weighs 30 pounds can walk around this house and like the walls shake. But no, I think actually in a second I'm going to go take her outside and try to get her a little fresh air. We just got her a bike, so she is a big fan of the bike.
Oh, that's cool. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Especially for a little one. And then the warehouse makes book number. A question from Brian. Warehouse makes book number what for you?
6, 7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 7.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because one of those is a short story collection, and I also wrote something with James Patterson, but that only came out as an ebook. So yeah, I don't know. It's all sort of all over the place.
Amanda says she's coming. Invite her in.
Oh, okay.
Kudos to Amanda. I have to say, we haven't. Amanda, I love following you. But Formal Friday.
Yes.
Hi.
Should be more of a thing, and maybe we kick her up on that. Hi, Abby.
Hi.
Can you say hi? Look who it is.
Hi.
We miss you.
We miss you.
Mom's watching you.
Yeah, I know Mom's watching me. Do you miss being in the bowling alley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you miss?
Show everyone your Olaf pajamas?
Oh, Olaf, of course. And I'm sure she's been singing.
Yep.
Abby, what do you miss most about coming to the bowling alley?
Oh, wait, I'm wearing a headset. I don't think she can actually hear. Hold on.
Oh.
Okay, go ahead.
Try that again. Abby, what do you miss most about coming to the bowling alley?
I liked when I was bowling.
Yeah. Well, we miss seeing you.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see you soon, all right?
We can't wait for you to come back.
Yeah, me too.
And then we'll ring the bell to get
Yeah,
Anna.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have fun and be good for mommy and daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't. She's too cute. She's too. We miss you. We miss you. We miss you. Get you coming here and singing for us. Yeah.
Okay, you all done?
Oh,
Okay.
I love it. Nothing like having kids at home, right?
Yeah.
Well, hey, Rob, really, thank you for
Thank
dropping
you.
in and joining us today. We
Yeah,
really
no, thanks so much for having me. And I'm glad you guys are doing this, and I can't wait until Rabs is open back up.
Yeah, we can't wait either.
we can't wait either.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Thank you again.
Thank
and
you,
we know
Rob,
we'll
and
see
good
you
luck.
soon. And
No
good
problem.
luck.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You got
Okay,
it. We'll
you
talk to
too.
you.
All right, bye.
He's awesome. It's the
He
talented
is.
Rob Hart.
I wanted to ask him. I didn't get a chance to. I wanted to ask him. That's okay. I'll ask him another time. But when the family all gets together, does he take a lot of, razzing and BS because the big shot brother. When you come here, you're still like the rest of us.
Maybe Terry. Maybe we didn't ask him that on the air.
Yeah. Terry will tell us.
Terry will tell us. Yeah, we do. I like the Terry family stories. There,
Yeah, she's got stories.
she has stories, and then I know Mary was piped in here. Mary has her own stories, and so I love hearing from Mary's perspective. The youngest one of how this all goes down. Well, again, thank you, Rob. Thank you, Terry.
Yeah, he was a great guest. Great guest.
Yeah, and the talent. He really is talented, and so in the work, it is great, and we're excited to see it come to life.
Yeah.
He's obviously working on something new, which he alluded to. So it'll be exciting to see to get that published, and hopefully he's on a track where the next couple of works could get picked up, and even you kind of alluded to it. The next one might not get picked up. You might have this big thing, and then hopefully it goes up.
But I think he's got the right idea. Is to keep working, keep getting your ideas on paper. And I was always amazed at the process. I guess I'm like that with everything. Like I like to know the process that goes behind it.
Mm-hmm.
I could imagine something like that is. I'm not surprised when he said it took him from the 18 years old to 32 to get, to actually get his first book to life because, just the whole task of it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, Terry, can you tell us, is Rob doing a how to write a book series at I think she mentioned that to me. So, Terry, please answer us in the messages there and let us know if Rob is going to be doing that.
You have two questions and he's gone. Real nice. That's great. Welcome to Live from Rabs when we have questions for guests and we don't answer them. We don't answer them. Kidding. I'm breaking your chops. Jesus Christ.
Terry is here. She could answer the question.
She could answer that question.
Anyway. So
from Anthony's perspective, which is what I know well and I hear him, Rob, that whole international thing was very different experience for him.
Yeah.
And going there and seeing your work being changed. And so he talked a little bit about how they changed it to make it relevant. That film, so we went to Rome and then we went to Milan for the premieres of the movie. He's the only one that speaks Italian.
She said she hadn't heard about that. Maybe I made it up.
We'll have to get back to you on
Maybe
that.
It's a good thing for him to think about.
And a couple of others that knew Italian, but I don't speak Italian. I know a little bit. We sat and watched the film in Italian, didn't understand a lick of it, but actually understood the whole story because we already knew the story. The crazy part, I even understood the changes that were made just based on what was happening in front of me, even in another language. But they made it relevant. And his story takes place in Brooklyn. They're not going to make it take place in Brooklyn. His dad's not going to be a loan shark.
Right.
He's going to be...
They're going to adapt it to the audience.
Makes total sense. And that's cool to hear. And the photo, we talked about the changes in the book covers. If you look up The Warehouse and then look it up in different countries and you'll see the different covers.
Even in the United States, I believe it had different covers.
Yeah, I think the one in the UK has got a barcode on it. Yeah. And it's just how the perception or what the story relates to them.
Interesting.
Well, good luck to you. Thanks, Rob.
Yeah.
And Amanda, I said it. If you're still watching, I think Friday Naz and I should embrace formal Friday.
I have no problem with that. We just have to put parameters on what formal is.
You can do whatever you consider to be formal.
Okay.
Formal
Alright.
Friday. I'm not gonna wear a sweatshirt. I'm actually gonna get changed and do something. But yeah, Formal Friday.
Okay, I'm in.
We're gonna
I'm
participate.
in. We'll start
and then
this
we'll have to
Friday
share
with Dr. Dean.
with Dr.
We're gonna
D.
get dressed up for Dr. Dean.
He's
probably
gonna wonder
be,
what's wrong.
I'm gonna wear like a tiara and a gown before really throw him off his game.
So I've been sharing some photos of Rabs through the years. Again, I'm gonna surprise Naz with another one. I think she could see it
Oh,
here.
is this gonna be embarrassing?
No, it's a good one.
Okay.
It's actually it's not. This is from '97, I believe,
Oh,
from
Parker
the United
Bone.
States Youth Games.
Oh, fondest memories of coaching with this group was you want to talk about stories for days.
And there you are, Naz. You're right there.
I still see pretty much all of these kids, and they still bring up
Stories from
youth games.
Yeah. So New York City hosted the Youth Games. I believe it was '97. Look, the Pro Shop was behind 47 and 48 then.
Not a shock.
But there's Tina Fischetti. I think that's
I can't really see
Tina
that.
Fischetti in the white.
Is that Chelsea?
And no, I think that's Erica.
I can't see the picture.
I think it's Erica
yes,
Van
I definitely
Pelt
see
Kaczynski.
Erica. Yes,
And then it's Parker Bowen. Look at that sharp looking guy.
he's sharp. That's why I said that was one of the things that we asked him to come and do a little thing there, and he's always in. He's a great guy.
And as I have some great youth games memories.
Oh.
We traveled around the country. In some cases, we
He just showed the picture. You missed it.
took a plane to Newark.
Yeah, well, we didn't take a plane to
I'm
Newark.
kidding.
We actually, do you remember Newark?
I didn't bowl Newark. I was done.
We
No, I
actually had a police escort.
To Newark.
Yes, because something happened with the car. We broke down. Something happened. I don't remember the details. I'm sure somebody on the team is going to remember the details. But I remember having a police escort from the toll plaza on the turnpike to the to where the event was in Newark.
You were you guys stayed in a dormitory, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess that was
In
part of what
university.
makes the whole situation. I mean, it was a team of girls and boys, obviously, dormed separately. And we were in Atlanta. We were in Houston. Atlanta, Alabama, and Houston are the ones I remember.
Yeah, well, we did Birmingham twice.
Yes. And it was there's a reason why they had a cutoff for the age. I mean, the age was 15. You had
Yeah.
to be under
It was
14.
U15.
Yeah.
It was U15,
And
U12.
There's a giant duffel bags that everybody overpacked, and we couldn't pick them up because they were so heavy because they were so big.
Rick Gomez still has. He sent Dave and I a picture a couple weeks ago of his New York duffel bag. He still has it. 16, almost 20 years later, he still has this duffel bag.
Yeah.
We
had some adventures, let's say.
I think one of my favorite adventures happens to be just one. We were in Birmingham, and there was somebody pulled a fire alarm, and of course, when somebody pulls a fire alarm, nobody moves
In a building full of kids.
but nobody moves. No, everybody's like, oh, the fire alarm went off. Like everybody expects it to be a false alarm, and that's anywhere you go. I've been in many hotels, same type of thing. Thing goes off, the lights blinking, and everybody just looks outside their door. Well, in this case, I think we were on the first. No, that was a different time. Okay, we were upstairs because I remember being in the hotel and looking down. And they told us it's a false. They got to us before we could leave. And there's Nazareth outside, like panicking, looking for us. And we're in the room still, and we're banging on the glass, thinking like idiots that she could hear us. And we're up here, we're waving. No. And then, of course, when Naz came back in, are you screaming at us?
Yeah, I
Screaming
had
at us.
several screaming. Listen, they were dormed in rooms. And
This was happened to
I
be a hotel.
wasn't, they had the boys dormed separately in a separate building from the girls, thank God. And so they had counselors with the boys for teams who didn't have a boy coach. a male coach, and so I basically stayed with the girls. But I can't even think of stories to tell. I mean, we actually saw Destiny's Child.
We did before they were in
Before
Houston,
they were famous.
right? Because they were from Houston. We saw them perform.
We saw them before they were famous, and we actually saw them up pretty close too.
Yeah.
And actually, I believe there was kind of like a meet and greet thing afterwards. But yeah, they were, they were like down there. They were popular then. Who would have known?
We had no clue.
That Beyonce would be the queen bee now.
I have to laugh. So my brother bowled. Was on the team. I wasn't there, but my father my
went.
uncle, and I traveled because we went to go see Red Bassett when we were down
right,
there.
You did a little side trip.
We went to an Astros game. We enjoyed it, but I remember all of us going, "Who are these?" Like nobody knew.
Yeah, nobody knew.
They had one song that like people knew.
Yes,
but it was a cool experience. But the youth games really, it was a qualifying. You made a team. We traveled the country from all different. They canceled. We were supposed to go to the Virgin Islands, 2000, 2001, whatever.
That was I toiled through Alabama twice in the middle of the summer, Houston in the middle of the summer, to eventually get to the Virgin Islands, and they canceled.
Well, they didn't. Yeah, New York canceled. The city of New York said
canceled.
we weren't traveling there because they had some issues going on. That was
there was a little problem feeling like it was international travel and taking all these kids.
The following year, we heard horror stories, so probably was a good thing we didn't go. But cool, we talk about this all the time. If it wasn't for bowling, we wouldn't. The places we visited, the people that we meet, wouldn't happen if we weren't bowling or being in this business. So there's something to be said for that.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, there were kids that didn't come from this bowling center that were on the team and came with us, and I still talk to the kids, and it's still nice to kind of touch base and see where they've gone,
or their kids now bowling in tournaments. We had that
yes,
recently.
Yes, we did.
Or their kids have now showed up for tournaments, which is cool.
Yes,
or
we did.
I remember the first junior gold, Dave Kaczynski bowled, and Steve Ennis and I went and watched. Which was a boring experience. Terrible. Don't go and watch. Sorry.
Especially when you
want to be bowling.
Yeah.
But that year it was like pre-junior gold experiences where we had met these kids in our travels from all different parts of the country.
Right.
And here we go to this other event. Well, wait a second. Oh, I remember you. And
right.
I mean, it wasn't always a good thing, but
right.
We had some good times.
And we were so fortunate to have a sport like this that offers those opportunities for competition. And it's not just the competition. It's like you said, it's it's the relationships and the friendships and the people that you meet, and they last a long time.
Listen, there are lots of people I still talk to from bowling and competing in those times. I don't see them, but you at least connect with them. It's pretty cool. And no, I am not wearing a crown and a dress. That's just plain old ridiculous. But Formal Friday.
We're going to do Formal Friday. I like that idea. I was going to actually suggest it a couple of weeks ago. I said, we have enough going on.
No, we should do it. We should participate. I think it's cool. Hey, a couple shout outs. Happy anniversary, 20th anniversary to the Rourkes, Stephanie and Kevin.
Oh, never had a fight.
Never had a fight. That's why Kevin has no hair. 20 years. And then I believe I saw the Labargos. Joe and Donna are celebrating.
I did see him say
an anniversary.
That's nice.
Yeah, happy anniversary. You're celebrating. I hope you have plans, nice dinners for your spouses, and whether you're cooking or ordering out or doing something.
Yeah.
I hope you have something nice planned since you can't really go out somewhere.
Soon enough.
20 years. Poor Stephanie. I don't know which one of them are watching, but poor Stephanie. And I'll text her. Never had a fight.
That's what I said.
Yeah. Yep. Well, happy anniversary. Tomorrow's Thursday, Naz.
You're good at keeping track of the days, Frank. I'm very proud of you.
Tomorrow is Thursday, which means we're going to talk more food.
Yep. And we really didn't talk. We barely talked about food.
That's all right. It's all right. We can get through it. Pamela Silvestri.
Yes.
is going to be with us tomorrow. Our Staten Island advanced food editor, Staten Island food guru, is going to join us with other special guests. We'll talk about food and the restaurant scene. And if you tuned in last week, we talked about gardening and figs. And
Yeah, that was good. My little fig tree is hanging on.
I think she posted, I think it was in a thing that she posted today. People were excited. They're starting to see fruit already from their,
Really?
yeah. I'm going to
That
go back and read that, but I'm
seems
pretty sure
early.
that's what I read. And yes, Michelle, the days are kind of flying by. We talked about that yesterday. If we were home cooped up, I feel like they wouldn't. But because we're
out and
busy,
yeah.
I certainly feel the same way. And a segment in the kitchen with Rabs, we're working on it. When Marco comes back, we're gonna get him in the pizzeria. But we're working on an in the kitchen segment too.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna the rest of the week. Friday. Who's with us Friday?
Dr. Dean, sports psychologist to the stars.
So when we introduce him on Friday, you have to say that. And then we're going to
I probably won't. He might not like
that. And then Saturday is Pro Bowler Hall of Famer Saturday. We're going to be
never disappoint
outside, I think.
I hope so. Yeah.
Is that
That's
the shop
plan.
phone ringing? Oh, hello.
It's probably Google calling for the text line today.
They're the worst with the phone calls. Your information isn't updated.
Yeah.
Today is Thursday. Tomorrow is Thursday, March 60th. Yes. It's like March has never ended. That is true, Angela. So anyway, so Saturday, PBA, PWBA, champions, Linda and Chris Barnes, Joe Cal back in the studio.
Can't wait.
And we're going to be outside the studio.
It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring some sunscreen.
Some umbrellas. Again, we're going to try this. I don't know how this is going to work.
We're not sure how it's going to work out, but we're adventurous. We like to try different things. So we're going to go out there and see how it works out.
We're going to be like this.
We won't be able to see anything.
We'll have sunglasses on.
You don't know.
Oh.
We're going to try it.
Stephen Ennis, you just popped in, but we were just talking about you. And I don't know if it was really good or not, but you're going to have to rewind and check that out. Well, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, it was a good day. It was a good day.
You're right. You're good today.
Yeah, today's a good day. We got the Citrus Bliss diffusing. You like that one, right?
I do. I'm a fan of the citrus smells.
Yeah.
I even like at night I'll have tea. I like the tangerine. I'm a citrus kind of guy.
So today was a good day. I'm gonna maybe finish up a tiny bit of painting in there, and then I'm going home.
What's for dinner?
Steak. That's what I had steak last time. We might have some leftovers tonight. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what we're doing with some leftovers. We have to pick a night where we have to eat leftovers because we could keep cooking every night, but then we wind up with
I have a
little bit of everything.
I have a refrigerator full of food, so now I think I'm going to put out because last night I made the steaks, but I also made some chicken cutlets. So yeah, I've got some stuff that we need to
purge.
Need to purge your fridge.
Can't waste it. Well, thanks for tuning in with us. We look forward tomorrow. Oh, Naz, tomorrow is episode 40.
40, the big 40.
The big 40. We've now surpassed way past my age. We're getting closer to your age.
Oh, we got a bit to go, but yeah,
tomorrow is the Liz birthday show. The big 40. Liz just celebrated her 40th birthday in August. Oh my God, Liz. That was almost a year ago.
Shut up.
Just think. Whoa.
Shut up.
Just saying. You were celebrating on the night that we had the overnight tournament.
Oh, that's right.
We were.
Story for another day. Anyway.
Yes, we were.
Well, thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow, tune in 2:00.
Yep.
Right here on Facebook.
Yeah, Terry wants us to talk about. We'll talk about Sunday tomorrow. No?
Oh, yeah, no.
You want to talk about Sunday?
Yeah, sure. You know what? We
Sunday.
might. Terry, see, here's the problem, Terry. We've got a schedule here. We're talking about the week. The week ends on Saturday and it starts up again on Sunday.
Correct.
But Terry, we do have a special guest that's going to be with us on Sunday. Go ahead, Naz. Who's going to be with us on Sunday?
And on Sunday, actually, it's super special. We have ex-Met, ex-Yankee, Pedro Beato will be joining us. I believe he's a relief pitcher. And he is. I'm not sure. He was with. I believe he was with Boston. I'm not sure.
Don't make up things.
I'm not sure he's still there. No, he was. I'm pretty sure that's where he was. And so we're going to find out about what he's up to, and what he's doing now, and how he's handling the quarantine, and what he thinks about the current baseball situation. And they're tossing around some possibilities of what the season might look like coming out of this.
And if anybody was watching, Joe Calandrullo somewhat predicted what's happening here.
He certainly did.
No, he had some. Of course, there was some scoop talking about, but it looks like 100 games. They're going to be the division, tighten the divisions.
Divisions are going to be changed according to location.
And they're going to play in their right, their spring training facilities, or at least in those regions. However, they're going to split them up. But interesting. It looks like they're going to get some games in. So we'll see. I'm a little upset because we've got a season tickets to the
that are still sitting up there in the box, unused, and yeah, it's disappointing. But it's the world we live in right now. We're going to deal with it.
Is Naz going to kill me, or you're going to kill me?
Yeah, I don't know.
Are you talking in the third person, Terry?
No, I think she was talking about me.
Oh, Liz is going to kill me. Oh, well, that could be. That's fine. It wouldn't be the first time Liz and I had an argument or yelled at each other or whatever we might.
So yeah, so Sunday is actually going to be kind of exciting.
Yeah,
and
so look at this. We're going to talk about food, sports psychology, and bowling,
and then baseball.
We got a great few days ahead of us. So thank you again, Terry.
Thanks for reminding us, Terry.
Yeah, but if you've watched on a regular basis, you know how this.
You
works.
would know we don't do Sunday today, but that's okay.
He pitched against the Yankees in this.
That's right. That's where I got that. He did. And we'll talk about the outcome of that at bat when he's here on Sunday, which I clearly remember.
That was the Subway Series was fun to watch. We had a good time watching it.
It was heart-wrenching. It
was heart-wrenching. At the same time,
no matter what the outcome was, it was just it just sits in the pit of my stomach, the whole series watching. It's very nerve-wracking.
It was exciting, though.
It was exciting. It would have been more exciting.
Yes, if the Mets won. We didn't. I got it. It was exciting at the time. Jesus Christ. Anyway, okay, you get me excited today, Naz.
We got good stuff happening.
We do. We have a lot of good things. Well, you're going to thank Pedro. Yeah, thanks. Well, once again, thanks for tuning in. Continue to tune in tomorrow, 2:00, every day until further notice.
UFN
2 p.m. here live on Facebook. We'll continue doing it. We were extended through May 15th. We'll see where that goes, and we'll see you tomorrow. Continue to like and share. If you don't already like our page or subscribe, do so.
Do it.
So you get
what are you waiting for? You're here every day. Subscribe, like,
and not follow the page. Like the page, because otherwise you don't get the notification. You get that little tells you that, oh, look at that, Frank and Naz are live from Inside Rabs.
That's who you have to thank, Beltron, not what's his name.
That is true. And we're always trying to. What do we try to do here, Naz?
We keep it real, even when it's tough. We keep it real.
A few good days ahead. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow, Naz.
That was awesome.
I'll see you then.
Bye.